And for our last story, we go back to Europe, where an international legal showdown is set to begin over an unusual subject of interest, the silvery fish species called sand eel. Now, the humble sand eel is set to be in the spotlight during what looks like the first courtroom trade battle between the United Kingdom and the European Union since Brexit. The UK has banned European vessels from catching the sand eel in its North Sea waters to protect marine wildlife that depend on it for food. But the European Union is now challenging the move. The UK imposed complete ban on sand eel fishing in April of 2024, citing marine conservation reasons. Brussels said that London's ban breaches post-Brexit deal in force since April of 2021. The EU also claims that the ban violates the fishing rights of the Danish fishermen under the 2021 UK-EU deal. The EU wants Danish fishermen to be allowed to fish sand eel under the 2021 EU-UK trade deal. The formal talks to resolve the row have failed, and now the dispute is headed for a 3-day trade tribunal hearing in the Hague's Permanent Court of Arbitration. If there is no last-minute compromise between the two sides, this will mark the first legal wrangle between the UK and the EU after Brexit. The dispute comes as the UK prepares for negotiations with the EU over the new commercial fishing limits from June next year. This is when provisions related to the EU's access to the UK fisheries will expire. Now, what exactly are the sand eel fish, and why are the UK government banning the catchments of this fish? Now, sand eel are a group of small eel-like fish species. It is a jointly managed fish stock under the UK-EU trade deal. Sand eel are rarely caught for human consumption. They are a favorite food of other fish species like cod and haddock, as well as threatened seabirds such as puffins and kittiwakes. They are also food for several critically endangered dolphins like porpoises. Now, across Europe, especially in the UK and France, marine conservation groups have long called for a ban on sand eel fishing to encourage seabird conservation, the protection of marine ecosystem, and the conservation of porpoises. Now, recognizing the marine conservation demands, in 2021, the UK imposed a licensing requirement on its own vessels to discourage sand eel fishing. In March last year, then UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's government banned all vessels from catching sand eel in the English waters. But the ban outraged the Danish fishermen, who sell sand eel to animal feed and fish oil industries under the post-Brexit deal. The Danish fishermen hold the right to the fish, the EU's share of the sand eel in the UK's water. Now, the dispute is not about whether the UK can restrict the fishermen from Denmark or the rest of the EU for conservation reasons, or whether the EU fishing rights remain unscathed under the 2021 post-Brexit trade deal. As the UK and the EU wrangle over fishing rights, the spotlight is once again on the haphazard way in which the UK exited the European Union. Several areas, such as fisheries and transport, resurface, remain a bone of contention between London and Brussels. The current dispute over fish catchments will be closely watched for how the UK's conservation stance stands against the EU's economic rights under the post-Brexit trade deal.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.